how did you get the people be AI ready? Like again, like how do you show them the vision and what they
Yeah.
can expect, and then really because it's a lot of effort as well in the learning. So how did you do that?
Yeah, definitely. I think there are probably a couple of key pillars when it comes to like how to get the organization AI ready. And then, as you said, we are very much like learning as we go, since we are the customer zero. I think the four pillars I will call out is really like number one, the culture and mindset. Number two is the data. Number three is processes. And then last one, I would say it's like the skilling and the continuous learning. I think on the culture and mindset, one thing that we've realized and like what we like to tell our customers is that I think the AI transformation is really a cultural change. It's not like an IT change. You really need to kind of like embrace the mindset of fail fast, like iterate rapidly, because the reality is that I think as an industry, like generative AI is still in like very early stage. Even when we launched Copilot, we were very clear with our customers that I think we really want to learn together with them. I think the second one on the kind of the data, and so before you even start using and hopefully reaping the benefit of generative AI, it does raise the bar in terms of like the state of your data estate. Like, do you have like the right security and compliance configuration? Like, do you have like the right training data? Because that's really kind of the basis and foundation of these AI assistants. And the third thing on the processes and systems, I think we are all creation of habits. We all have like processes that are like deeply ingrained with our within our kind of enterprise already. And so I think AI adoption is really about, I think, number one, how do you reimagine some of the processes? And number two, being willing to kind of stop some of the kind of the lower value work, so that you kind of really reimagine the way, I think, especially for finance teams, like how you do forecasts, like how do you like project manage, so that you are kind of in a position to really kind of adopt these AI assistants. And the last thing I would say, which is probably the most important part, is really like skilling and the continuous learning. I think AI is really like a new skill set we have to learn. We don't just kind of like wake up one day and know how to prompt, how to ask questions, because I think a lot of times what you get out of these assistants is very dependent on kind of the quality of your questions, like the way you frame the prompts. And so within that, I think a few things that has worked out well for us is really like, I think number one, like building like a center of excellence. So like in each finance organization, like we have one or several like Copilot champs who are very passionate about like the technology. And so like, because I think a lot of AI adoption is really about like generating energy and excitement and like make sure people are actually using it. I think the second one is just kind of the importance of like enlisting and training non-technical personnel, because I think the engineering team is amazing. They have like all these great ideas on how to evolve the product, but unless it's something that the business users find valuable, it's really hard to make sure like we are kind of building and evolving the product the right way. So like I think as internal customers, like we play a really big role in terms of like providing that feedback to our product and engineering teams. And you will only kind of provide valuable feedback if you are like an active user. And I think the last one, kind of going back to like skilling, I think it's really about like helping people to like build a new habit and really like think like a manager. I think, and I'm kind of curious to get your perspective on this later as well, but I think like the process of adopting AI is actually pretty painful. It's very easy to kind of just like keep doing things the same way before. And so we really have to like encourage people to like pause before every task and ask like, hey, where can I use Copilot? How can Copilot make this simpler, instead of just like doing things the old way? The other element, kind of like what I meant by like thinking as a manager, is like, I think Copilot is by no means perfect. A lot of times it gives like inaccurate or like incomplete answers. And so it still requires the user to be almost function as a manager, to know like when to delegate, like how do you check the work, like when do you how do you apply judgment. So those are kind of some of the things that, at least so far over the past like 6 to 12 months, that we've been kind of learning over here at Microsoft. I think on that, I'll maybe hand it over to you. Like, I feel like one of our biggest pain point, as I mentioned, is like, I think changes are not easy, and it's like very hard to find the right balance between like, when do you trust AI versus like, when do you kind of apply your own judgment? Any thoughts from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think the tools are, I mean, super powerful. And again, whatever it can bring you is, I mean, like it's endless in terms of options and use cases. But really is, I think the question to ask is, instead of starting from the technology, is really, okay, what I'm trying to achieve, what's the outcome I want to get? And then see what tool can help me get there. And I think we talk a lot about garbage in and garbage out, and the tools are really depending on the input you've put in, right? So if I take example of a machine learning again, it's really a journey, and it's fancy word and it sounds super complicated, and it might sound like people don't understand it, but the reality, it's the steps. It's just like, let's say there's 10 steps to produce a forecast using machine learning. Those 10 steps are human decision and human input. So it starts from, what data should I pick? How do I clean it? How do I sort it? Which model I'm going to use? Which angle I want to tackle? And all the decisions that we make along the way are human decisions. So really the output that we get is really depending on the input we provide the tool to help us. So the tool needs to be a support. We can't rely on it. Like, we can't just be lazy and say, okay, AI will do the job for me and I can, focus on something else. The reality, it is there to help us to reduce, the tedious task and the things that don't have a lot of value. But what we need to build, like the skills that we need to build as a finance org, is really to be able to be critical in terms of the outcome that the tool is giving us, and as well have a good understanding on how the process is working, so we can really fix it if there is a problem or an error or anything that is not getting us the output we want. We're able to know or pinpoint where to fix, on which stage the information was wrong, the input was wrong, that led to a wrong outcome. So the thing is, with, again, all those tools, they can give you errors, they can lie, they have biases as well. They have tons of biases because, again, it's influenced by humans. So the critical, I would say, skills that we need to build is really be able to spot those errors and spot those biases and be part of the conversation to be able to fix them and change them and improve them.